All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back for another week with us here at Apollo Racing Club. This week we are going to be in the land of the rising sun, Japan, racing at the Suzuka circuit, one of my personal favorites. Also the only track that I have participated in as a driver during a 24-hour race, so I know this one very well. It is a fan favorite, and joining me in the commentary booth this week is, as always, Fred Fosberg. Go ahead and say something to the nice folks watching at home.
Hello and welcome to a very wet Suzuka, which this is going to be the first wet race of the season. And therefore I'm not really 100% sure what car is going to be on top. I'm expecting, of course, the Porsches to still be quite strong if they manage to get the rear end to not slide around too much. But other than that, the Aston Martins are extremely good in the wet.
Yeah, just anything front-hand drive is going to be looking pretty good pick right now. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull us over to the race. Let's get this sound figured out here. Sorry about the start of the stream there for a little bit, folks. We're having some technical difficulties. Looks like they're not done yet either. Come on, game capture, pick up the game, please. I believe in you. Please don't tell me my belief is misplaced. Oh, it is. Okay, we're going back to the pre-roll. Let's figure this out. Technical difficulty, folks.
Do you want me to swap over to my computer?
No. We should be okay here.
Understood.
It's just being difficult. I will fix this. Okay. Come on, game capture. Come on, we got a beautiful look at our sponsors, and there's the game. All right, so we are currently on got the cameras on Sam Carasala driving the Pink Pig Porsche. Currently going around, looks like he's coming up into the dangers here, so we're a little late into the lap. But he is the lead lap for qualifying right now. He's going to be the first one to put in a hot time. Not a lot of commentary to give so far, but as Fred was saying, as this track is wet. It's not damp, it's not greasy, it is wet out there, and it is going to be interesting to see how these quali laps go. Right now, that Porsche that we're watching is looking pretty good. Nothing too dicey, must have a nice stable setup going on, but he's coming up into Spoon, and that'll be our first interesting corner, in my opinion, for these Porsches. It's going to be a tough one to take.
Yep, the corner is very much off camber, so if you're not running enough wing or your rear suspension is too stiff, you're gonna be sliding all over the place there. And you don't want to hit the exit curb on the right side going out of Spoon, because that unsettles the car even in the dry, so just imagine what it'll do to you in the wet.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, that is gonna be the corner to watch today, because there's very little chance there won't be at least one time where more than one car thinks they can fit through there going at full speed. So it'll be interesting to see what that looks like later on in the race. But right now we've got Sam coming across the start-finish line. We're going to see what our first quali time is going to look like here. At a 2:08.3. It's going to be that's a decent time, considering Andrew Warden was putting in barely 2:05s during his practice session. So that'll be an interesting time to see if anybody's able to beat that in the AM split. But let's go ahead and take a look at another car out on the track right now. Got a couple that are getting ready to cross the start-finish line. Just grabbed one of them, so hopefully we see a little bit of everybody. But we've got Chevrolet, not last, AMG. That's a new car, isn't it?
We've had him since Alton, I think. But
okay.
I think he crashed out quite early at the start of the Alton race. And
I missed Snetterton, so
one.
Yeah. All right, a couple more times coming across the board. Sam Carasala is feeling real good with his time right now, because second place provisionally right now is put in a 2:10.3, 2 seconds off of our current provisional pole, and it is looking like the rest of the field is going to be filtering down in that range. Suzuka is a remarkably difficult track to try and take in the wet. So it's not surprising to see we're seeing a good spread of times already. But let's see if we can get a couple folks nipping at Sam's heels here.
The biggest issue with Suzuki in the wet is that so many of the corners are off camber, so you're already struggling for grip in the dry. And then you apply this slipperiness of a wet condition, and all of a sudden you're running around just praying for the front end to actually bite. But at the same time, you don't want the front end to bite too much, because then the rear becomes too unstable in the high-speed corners. So you basically have to gamble with a setup or compromise your front end grip for stability, because you don't want to die. But then you're suffering so much for through the first sector of the track. So yeah, it's a tough nut to crack, this track.
No kidding. And really, the conditions are everything, because Suzuka, I mean, personally for me, one of the most enjoyable tracks to drive on. It is just fantastic. It's got everything. It's reasonably challenging. It's plenty of places to get up to high speed. Lots of fun braking zones like the chicane we're watching Cody Barrett go through right now. But in the wet, it is an entirely different monster.
The issue, well, the only issue I see is that it can be quite tough to overtake on this track in the GT cars compared to the Formula 1 cars, because we don't have the DRS on these cars. But yeah, you like, as a driver's track, it's amazing. Can't say anything else. It is extremely good.
True that. Cody Barrett posts a good improvement, takes just shy of 2 seconds off his time, coming across the line with a 2:11.0. That's who we've been watching here. Sam Carsala has yet to improve on his previous lap. We're gonna go ahead and hop over to Pop Dog right now on a decent lap, but actually I see somebody who's on quite the lap right now, Javier Marquez, just getting ready to finish up here, looks like. Yep, coming down the pit straight right now. Let's see what that time looks like. Gonna post a 3-second improvement, going from 2:14.2 all the way up to a 2:10.6. So a massive improvement moves him from, what was that, 15th place up into 6th. We see another improvement come out of A. Hasselbrook. That's another new name for me. Yeah, so Aiden Hasselbrock here in another McLaren.
I also want to mention our Honda driver on the grid right now, because apparently we have a new guy, Jones, who's driving the Honda right now, but he committed probably the biggest mistake you can do when picking cars, when deciding to pick the Honda, because they picked the non-Evo version.
Oh,
and the non-Evo Honda is extremely poor. It was off the pace even when it was like the up-to-date Honda in the game.
Yeah, let's go ahead and let's hop over to that. Okay, this guy's already a fan favorite from me. Mike Jones driving the 50 Shades of Honda NSX. I love it.
Oh, yeah. He is going to struggle a lot.
Yeah, that's going to be a rough car to try to do anything good in, but we will be pulling for him. I really do wish that some of these older BOP cars got a little bit more love from the developers, because it would be fun to see a Honda NSX that can do well, not at in more than like 1 or 2 tracks. And Melon Pitch in the chat saying, note that this is the old Honda, not the Evo. That is what Fred was just finished up telling us. And yeah, it's one has to ask, why not just pick the Raider or Reader at that point?
Yeah, the Writer is probably the hardest car in the game to set up, because the normal rake position of that car is strange. Your front is way higher on any other GT3 car, so therefore you have no front end grip. So you basically want to run as high rake as possible, but then the rear becomes too unstable, so you have to run max swing. So it's an impossible car to set up in my eyes.
And if it's impossible for you to figure out, I'm certainly not about to take a swing at it. So, as we can see there, we're getting close to having the Pro Split drivers join us here out on the track. We saw them queuing up in pit lane while we were watching Chris and Gurian cross the start-finish line. Right now, on board with Eric Chang in the Bentley we got to see so much of out at Oulton. Currently on a decent lap for himself, 7/10 up in the Delta. Loses a little bit of it at the exit of the hairpin there. We'll see if he's able to recover any of it going through Spoon. How do you think the Bentley's going to do here? Do you think it's going to be in its element, living up to the Boatley name, just being stable and being able to charge through?
The problem with the Bentley is, since it's understeered by nature, it's going to have an even worse time through the first sector. We were doing some running earlier where I drove both the Bentley and the Honda, the Evo Honda, through here, because that's the car I usually drive in my leagues at this point, and I was about a second faster in the Honda than the Bentley through the first sector, just because the Honda is actually more nimble than the Bentley.
Yeah, it's that mid-engined agility that's just really helps that car here.
But then also the Bentley's rake is ridiculously negative. It's something about like with max wing negative 6 point something, which makes the car incredibly stable, but just basically slow and mid-speed agility just isn't there compared to a mid-engine car. So that is the biggest issue, since the entire first session is just mid-speed, off-camber cornering. It plows a lot, especially on throttle.
Yeah, I can see that being a problem. So that is going to be it for the AM splits qualifying there. Let me, I don't want to hop too far up the leaderboard just so we can see cars that are driving, but we do have Sam Carsala up there. Did post an improvement of his previous 208.3. It brings it down to a 208.47, giving him a pretty healthy gap to provisional second place, but we have our pros out on the track. Let me see if I can find who's the farthest up on the board. It does look like it's going to be Andrew Warden going across the start-finish line right now, so let's go ahead and take a look at how this lap is supposed to look. It's the nicest way I can put it.
Oh, well, that's usually how it is, though. Well, going through the S's, it's a bit different in the wet sense. On the dry line, you want to basically run every curb that you see. Quite hard also, and almost be on the inside of it. Whilst here in the wet, you really want to stay out of it, but it looks very composed thus far. Yeah, it looks really good.
That was a great Dunlop right there. Let's see how he does coming into the dangers here. Ooh, he's in the right country to be doing that kind of drift, but I don't know if that's going to be great for his lap time. Runs a little wide there on the second danger as well.
Yeah, that is what I was expecting the Porsches to be, sadly. I'm expecting the rear ends to be a bit slidey because you're already very much on edge of traction in the Porsche constantly. So, but I'm still expecting them to be the fastest cars, because the McLaren, whilst it's okay in the wet, it's not the best on this track. It is one of the slower cars, BOP wise.
Oh, that's going to be an invalid time out of him. That was a rough exit at Spoon there. I think you're exactly right. The back is just so slippy.
I think he was invalidated from before when it went through the first Agnes.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yep, he is off.
All right, well, let's see what the McLaren behind him's able to do. See if Daniel Wright's able to put in a decent time. I'm trying to get the camera over to him right now, but my eyeballs don't work.
Yeah, I'm on him right now.
There we are.
It's looking like he is gonna be posting somewhere around the... Yeah, that's pole for now at least.
207.1. Tommy Kogan comes in behind with a 206.9 as we watch the McLaren almost spin
right
it.
to spun.
Yep, we got that.
Right to spun.
There goes Tommy Kogan taking the line through there. Teleports back to pits. Probably not the wrong call.
Yeah, the tires are going to be dead after that, sadly.
All right, we're
Question
watching...
is, another thing that is very important to note here is that it looks like that it's quite heavy rain, and therefore you're going to need more tire pressure in your tires, and also from time to time you're going to need to run different brake ducts than what you're used to keep the heat in the tires. Because keeping heat in the tires in the when you're running in the wet is probably one of the hardest parts of wet running, since the performance are gonna change constantly depending on how stacked up the grid is. Because as more as the grid gets spread out, the less of a dry line it's gonna be, and the less of a dry line it's gonna be, the colder the tires are gonna be. So it's a really hard thing to set up before a stint, because you usually get the information you need for the tire settings later into the race.
quick update on what the leaderboard's looking like right now. So we still have Tommy Kogan up in provisional pole, followed by Daniel Wright with a 207.1. Sam Carsall is still sitting on the podium right now with the time that was set during the AM split. Is looking to be a very strong time. Starting to wonder if he's in the wrong split here. We got Craig Bray in fourth position coming across the line with a 208.2. The next pro driver is going to be Niall Drake in seventh place, down with a 208.6. Which really does speak to some of the AM times we're seeing come out right now. But right as I'm saying that, Andrew Warden comes across to take first place with a 206.7. Not actually as much as I would have anticipated based on how practice went. Tommy Kogan actually has a reasonable shot at taking that away. Daniel Wright does set a slight improvement to his time as well. Shaves a couple of tenths off there and takes third place away. Andrew getting up on the time knocked podium from Sam, but time improvement out of Daniel Wright nonetheless.
Worth to notice is that the track condition in practice was damp, whilst it's wet in the qualifying.
That is a big difference.
So yeah, the track state is much worse. So it's a much harder track to drive at this point.
Watching Ice Tin right now come around the final corner. We're going to see what that lap time looks like. Currently a half second up on the Delta. It would be enough for a couple positions here. So let's see. When he crosses, he's going to go from 14th up into 12th, posting a half second improvement, putting him in with a 209.8. Let's see. Who's in the
One
middle?
thing that is very interesting to see here is people that usually are very rapid in the dry seems to be struggling in the wet. For an example, Matty Byrne, who was, I'd say, the third fastest guy in the Snetterton race, is struggling a lot right now.
Yeah, we just
being
caught
in 14th.
Just caught Matty coming around the dangers. So yeah, it does look like that McLaren's struggling a little bit for grip.
And also we have Alexandre Alfonso, which usually runs a bit further down the field, being up in 12th. So yeah. It's more spread out field, which is very interesting. It's gonna be cool to see how everything ends up being towards the end. Oh, I see another European in here with Ashley.
Jay Ashley in the Bentley
guy is here. Hello,
excellent.
Ashley.
Owned Racing, another one of our one of the leagues we scavenge a lot of drivers from. Do a lot of cross driving between those two leagues. Great guys over there.
Oh yeah, they have a 6 hour of Monza coming up in early December that I'm taking part of, so it's going to be interesting to see how that goes.
It's actually a good reminder that I believe next week is the 20th. Yeah, we have the 4 hours of Paul Ricard coming up here pretty soon as well. I actually will be driving in that one this time, so very much looking forward to that. Me and Sam Carsall actually are going to be teaming up. We're going to be taking the Cayman out.
Okay, the GT4. Best of luck. Best of luck.
We're gonna get past a lot.
I am actively avoiding the track car combination, so I'm not taking part of that race.
Fair enough. Yeah,
I'm not a big fan of driving Paul Ricard at all, and Porsche, although it's an incredibly enjoyable car to drive, I'm not that fast in it, so I'm probably either gonna stick to commentary or practice for my own league races.
Fair enough. Quick shout out from the chat. Fred, Owned Racing saying hi, and they're letting us know that they will be there at Paul Ricard. How many teams you guys bringing?
And yeah. Hello. I was kind of zoned out. I was watching lap times from Kogan.
Yeah, Tommy Kogan just set a decent lap time, but of note, Matty Byrne, we've been watching for about a lap and a half now, currently over a second up on the Delta coming out of the hairpin.
Yeah, but the thing you have to remember is that you're going to be able to improve a lot if you are a few seconds off.
And they lose it, run wide at the right-hander following the hairpin, puts the car into the wall, and that is going to be the end of that quali lap. Let's go ahead and hop over with Alessio Melise here in the Totale Racing Ferrari, coming down the final corner into the pit straight. We'll see what this lap time looks like. Currently a half second up on the Delta. It would be enough for 2 or 3 positions gained here. Let's see if they're able to stick it. Lose just a little bit there at the very end, and that is going to move them up into 9th place from 10th, and I think that is going to be qualifying. Unless there's anybody else.
Yep.
Is there anybody else out on the track? No, there's a couple more.
Yeah, and Niles out there driving. Let's see how he's gonna do. Our controller boy is usually really fast in the wet, but he's on an invalidated lap, so he's not gonna improve. Let's see what other cars we have. We have Alexandre Alfonso being 4 tenths up, going through 130R. Now going into the final chicane. 7 tenths up. 8 tenths up. This is going to be a good time, really good time. Probably his best qualifying position thus far. I think this is going to put him. It's going to put him 11th, which is a good result for him. Good job, Alexandre.
There we go. Yeah, that was a great way to finish quali, moving a couple positions up at the last second. You love to see it.
Okay. Also, I think we have a new guy that I'm not that I don't know. Right now, Dyson.
Yep.
I have not heard his name before.
Nor have I. Yeah, put in a 208.3, just a 10th off of Craig Bray. But yeah, a good time nonetheless. Chat, I'm having a little bit of an audio bug on my end. Is it coming through on stream? Things sound garbled and well, pixelated for lack of a better word, or is it still coming through nice and clear over there? Because if it's just me, I'm not going to mess with it. But if it's the stream is hearing all of that nonsense, we need to get that fixed before we start the race. So somebody go ahead and let me know if everything's coming through.
What are
nice
we talking
and clean.
about? What was the issue?
It's an audio card problem. It plagues me, and the only way to fix it is to reboot the computer, which I would like to avoid doing. Spot on. Then I'll suffer through it. We're good.
Okay. Is it your, or is it the video quality in general?
No. It has nothing to do with the video. It's the sound card. Because I do music recordy things. Sometimes I have an external audio card that I rely on, and once in a while the driver gets a little confused about what its job is, and so then this thing happens, which I usually fix by rebooting, but it's going to happen in the middle of our stream, because when else is it going to happen? Certainly not when it's convenient for me to fix it. So that was qualifying. One thing to notice is now when I'm walking down the grid is that some people don't seem to know the rules of wet setup like building. And what would those be? It's actually quite easy to notice, because to have a wet setup, you want to push the brake bias basically as far rearwards as you can, because you're by default gonna have a high front end and make the car understeer mechanically. So therefore you want the brakes to help you rotate into corners. But I see a lot of people running for next. I think it was it? Yeah, Ashley in the Bentley is running 66.0 brake bias, whilst they should probably be running something closer to 57 on a wet setup. Interesting. And now I can see him changing his brake bias to make it even more forward. Interesting. Yeah, because generally the rule of thumb is to target that 50-50 split as much as possible. Now he's pulling it down to 57. There we go. Good that you're listening, Johnny. I was going to say, I think somebody's watching the stream. That's a wise decision to make there. Yep. You want the brake bias to be very far rearwards, because that's the only way you're going to have any rotation with these tires. Okay, also, I would not recommend running any other mapping on the engine than your fastest, because there's not really any point in the sprint race. Yeah, because... So just run your map 8 if you're Porsche, map 4 if you're... No, not map...
use map 2 if you're a Honda, map 1 if you're any other car.
That is one of those things that I was fortunate to learn really early on in these shorter races. It's better just to run the engine at full chat and have a little bit of discipline with your throttle, because the speed you lose in the straights is way too much in most cases.
A big thing also is that the TC system in the all GT3 cars besides one is actually very sophisticated, so you can slam the throttle and it won't kill you most of the time.
Yep.
The only car that doesn't have a good TC is the Audi. There's literally no point of even running more than one on that car because it's so garbage.
All right, well, we begin our pace lap here. Get everybody, hopefully they're taking this opportunity to warm up their brakes so that they can warm up those tires. They are going to be frozen by the end of the lap, if not. Fortunately, they have the advantage of running the softer compound on the wets, so they do warm up a little bit better than the slicks do in a similar scenario. But they will definitely be mindful of those tire pressures so they don't start driving on actual ice.
The thing I'm worried about is seeing people underestimate how little or overestimate the grip they have going into turn 1. Because no, probably not warm brakes and dirty air with no dry line in heavy rain equals disaster if you're not careful. So hopefully we don't see a big pile-up in the first corner, because since it's a double apex, there's going to be a lot of, not perhaps swerving, but it's going to be a lot of moving back and forth on track to have the optimal line. For turn 1, I'd personally probably want to be on the inside, so starting on the right side of the track is the advantage for this track specifically.
I've got nothing to add there. You guys are listening to a master in his craft. I'm certainly not even half the driver. Once upon a time, I may have known something about driving GT3 cars, but that time has long since been devoured by my GT4 racing. So you are the subject matter expert here.
Oh yeah, but at the same time, when it comes to GT4s, I'm completely inept. I have no clue how to drive those cars. We were racing on that Soldier race, right?
Yes, we were.
When you were in the BMW and I was in the Alpine, and I had a floppy hood, so I had no front end, what's it called, straight line speed compared to the BMW.
To be fair, even in the best of conditions, that Alpine's going to get smoked by the BMW as soon as there's a straight line that's longer than 100 meters.
Oh yeah, I noticed. Even on Soldier, I didn't stand a fucking chance.
Yeah,
sorry for
the BMW
language.
is ridiculous, but it's only really ridiculous in a straight line. Real quick,
yeah.
I just want to take a real quick opportunity before we get this race started. I've got to say thank you to our sponsors and our partners. We got a couple to go through. We have Driver61 is doing all of that education stuff for us. Great resource to really get crazy in-depth information about sim racing as well as real-world racing. We also want to say a big thank you to both SimGrid and Grid Finder. Both of them do an excellent job helping us advertise the league. Great places to go look if you're looking to start sim racing. Both of them excellent resources to do so. SimGrid is a little bit better on the organization if you're a league admin, but Grid Finder is probably the one I would go to if I were looking for a race. Super easy to find. Lots of people use it. Good places to go check. And we also are using Pitwall Live as well. If I can remember to throw a link out in this the chat, we can see live timings and map conditions, but that is going to be the green flag waving. We've got this race underway with Andrew Warden charging down into the first turn. Let's see if we were wrong about people overestimating the first turn amount of grip.
It's going to be, I think
we've already got cars off wide. Got an Aston Martin trying to get his way back out on the track on the AstroTurf, but it looks like that may have been the only car to go off was that one. That is remarkably clean and surprising, but we have a race on our hands that is going to last beyond the first turn. But right now we've got Sam Carsala right now. Who's that behind him? That's going to be Craig Bray behind him. Two Porsches battling it out coming through this S's coming up into Dunlop. Let's see if either one of them gets a better run on the other one. Sam really using every inch of the track there. Gets a good exit coming up into the Degners.
Yep. Do you know who got spun around? I think I'm haven't picked up who got spun around yet.
I wasn't able to see it. I just caught their rear wing running a little bit wide there, unfortunately.
It was LeBron going wide and being spun around.
Well, hopefully it wasn't because of contact. They're just maybe have a little bit older tires than they want to have, get back out on the track, start working their way back up to where they should be on the grid. Things still pretty tight. Grid hasn't spaced out quite as much as I would have thought it would have based on quali, but it looks like we have a little bit of action going on back in the hairpin there. Car number 47 getting the yellow flag waved at it.
I think there's a lot of battles in general just because since Arrow is going to be less dependent since the speeds are so much slower, it's going to be much more close in the midfield at least between the cars.
Yeah, this is going to be a midfield race to watch. I have a feeling we're going to be spending a lot of time hanging out with those guys.
Yep.
Looks like 130R so far hasn't taken any victims yet. Most of the drivers doing a good job of keeping it nice and safe.
Taking a very compromised line and being very clean and letting people by when he cut the final chicane. So good on him there. He almost actually goes wide going into the final corner leading up to the pit straight. So yeah. And we have Kubale taking a very interesting line. Slot him back in. Okay.
All right, just like that, the first lap is over. Ooh, we got that Marlboro McLaren exploring the runoff area there, but gets it back out on the track without causing any further incidents. Love to see that. Slots in front of Eric Chang. Let's go ahead and get the camera focused on those two so we can see how this battle is going to pan out. Looks like the front of the pack is more or less keeping it nice and tight and clean. And we can see our race leaders, Andrew Warden, Tommy Kogan, and Daniel Wright out there running by themselves here. But we're going to watch Eric Chang and this McLaren.
Yeah, he got past more. Who was that, actually? Pop Dog.
Yeah, it's Pop Dog.
Yeah, Marquez is always in the blue McLaren.
And let's actually, I'm going to hop a little bit further up the grid. It looks like Sam Carsala has got a little bit of company behind him. Still got Niall Drake chasing him down. Those two have been basically in lockstep this whole time.
Yeah, but as usual, it's a Porsche party up front. Five cars out of the top 7 are Porsches.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
With a couple of McLarens sprinkled in there for flavor.
Yeah. Porsche seems to be the favored car around there. But I got to say that the TC settings on a lot of the cars are very interesting.
I can't see that because I have it in broadcast mode, so enlighten me.
Okay. So, basically, in the wet when you have two TCs, TC1 and TC2, you want to run a low TC1 and a high TC2. So in the wet, I'd personally use on the Porsche like 3.9 or something like that. So TC1 3 and TC2 9. Oh yeah, and for those not knowing, TC1 decides when the TC is going to cut in. So basically, the lower the TC you have there, the later the TC is going to cut in and basically choke the engine. But TC2 decides how much it will cut in. So therefore, the meta right now on all cars that has 2 TC settings are in the dry is running TC1 on the setting 1 and TC2 on the setting 7. So basically, it doesn't cut in at all, basically. But when it does, it cuts in a lot and stabilizes the car instantly. That's at least what I've heard from my fellow German drivers over in Europe, and I trust them with my whole life at this point.
Nah, that's a pretty common sentiment, and it does seem to work for almost anybody who's running a setup like that. Man, we have quite a few races actually that are beginning to unfold. Right now, we're going to take a look at the battle for 9th. We got Andre Afonso leading it out with the BMW there. Got a train of a couple of cars chasing him down. We got Ice Tin right behind him, Matty Byrne behind Ice Tin, and the new name for us here, Rico Dyson in the Aston Martin, trailing them just a little over a second between all of those cars. And they are going to be battling it out for a top 10 finish here. And we can see just how close those McLarens are. Let's go ahead and get on the camera on Ice 10 there, and that Aston Martin right on the bumper of the McLaren behind him. They're keeping it real close considering the conditions.
I think Dyson is going to be in a good spot here because the Aston has better grunt than the McLaren on the straight line, but at the same time it doesn't really want to get too close going into 130R. And how wide does it go? But it's
just a little bit. Oh, and that other McLaren's looking up the inside going into the chicane, and it looks like he's going to get it. The dive up the inside left wide open by Ice Tin right there, and Matty Byrne capitalizes on that, gains himself a position with just 2 corners left in the lap, and now it is going to be a drag race down into turn 1.
Yep.
Getting in the slipstream right there. Looks like Matty's trying to close it up. He's going to be on the middle of the road, which is going to force Ice 10 to take a compromise line if he's able to get there in time. Thinks better of it. Looks like the McLaren out in front just is able to command the line a little bit too effectively for Ice 10 to get around there. And now he's got to sit here and be patient because it is almost impossible to pass in the S's in good conditions, much less here in the wet. So it really just comes down to getting a good exit at Dunlop and having all of that speed to carry up the hill. But keeping it nice and steady. Looks like he might be setting up here. Doesn't quite get as far to the outside as he could have. You can see a little dab of the brakes there mid-corner just to stabilize the car out, and that is going to allow the Aston Martin to close up on the inside there. And we're going to see if he might go for a move in the Degners. I don't know if I would advise it. Good. Thinks better of it. Filters in, single file through there, through Degner 2. Eats a lot of that curb there. Gets right on the rear bumper of that McLaren out in front. And we're going to see what happens here at Spoon. He is in striking distance if he can stay that close through the hairpin up the hill into Spoon.
Very close up to the bumper still. The Spoon is not really an overtaking position either. That's what I mean. In these GT3 cars, it's actually really rough to get past people on a lot of places. Hairpin is probably one of the few really good overtaking spots besides turn 1. You can go in the final chicane as well, but it can be a bit sketchy to go offline in 130R.
And we just saw it pay off for Matty Byrne, though, who does seem to be pulling a little bit of lead to the pack. And actually, we see the Nissan right there of Melon Pitch joining the fray for the battle for 11th.
Yep.
How's the Nissan here, Fred?
Well, it's an intercontinental track, so by default it shouldn't be too bad, honestly.
Oh, man, the Aston Martin really wanted to get up. I don't know if you're still watching Ice Tin and our Dyson there, but Dyson really eager to get around this McLaren. Almost causes a little bit of contact going into that final chicane.
That also just invites Melon Pitch right into this little battle. So let's see how everything ends up being here towards the end.
It's an interesting battle to watch. Let me look around the field, see if we've got anything else. We've got a lot of really close racing going on right here.
Look further back in the field and it's so close between a bunch of people. Justin Robinson and Javier Marquez are really close, but also look at Tim Wilkins and Pop Dog. They're both incredibly close to each other.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw it back to Justin Robinson. Let's make sure everybody's getting a little bit of screen time here. We're looking at the back of the pack, currently following car in 21st position, and they are battling for 21st position. They got 3 cars in a tight train right behind him. We're gonna see what these drivers are able to do coming through the S's here. Oh, and we watched Justin Robinson run a little, actually way wide off the outside there of the S's, and it's gonna have to wait his turn to get back in on Dunlop. Perhaps one of the most disastrous spots to go off here. We'll leave him to his devices to get back on the track, hop up to Javier Marquez, who is growing a little bit of a gap to that battle for, what would that be behind him? 21st there.
Yep, 21st.
And actually, I think the splits need to update here because that's not Chris Ungurian behind him. That is, it looks like M. LeBron behind him.
Behind who?
Or... let's see, we're on Chris.
LeBron
it's Mike Jones behind him. That's right. That's the Honda.
Yeah, exactly. And LeBron is in 24th, I think.
Yep, I see that.
No, he's not.
I saw the I saw the Honda and forgot we have a Honda because the default livery for the Lexus is the red, white, and black, and I thought that was what it was. I'm just so not used to seeing a non-Evo NSX on the track. It caught me off guard, but Mike Jones is making it work for him.
the livery that we're seeing on the Honda is literally if you go into add a car in the ACC and just make a new one. So, but yeah, I'm impressed that he is managing to keep it as stable as it is.
Ooh, get over to Ice Tin right now. We almost have. Oh, there is contact in turn 1 between Ice Tin and Rico Dyson there. Just a little love tap on the inside quarter panel there. Fortunately, Ice Tin doesn't spin around under braking, but he does get the overtake there, squeezes it in at the very last minute. Now we can see just how tight this pack is coming through the S's. Melon Pitch right on the rear bumper of that Aston Martin, not giving up any ground. And they're gonna fight this all the way to the charge up the hill at the exit of Dunlop.
Yeah, the thing here for Melon Pitch is that the Nissan just isn't as nimble as the car's head, but he has a bit of an advantage on the straights.
Oh, and then missed braking marker
contact
there from the Aston Martin, and that's gonna be massive contact, and then collected in the runoff zone between those two cars. That is a big hit there, and that is going to allow Melon Pitch to run away from that pack without any competition.
Yep, very interesting to see how that ended up. Who's that then? It's Ice Tin.
It was Ice Tin and Rico Dyson.
Yeah. And Dyson is dropping far back. He is behind Jones now, I think.
That is what we are seeing here now. Coming around the hairpin and up the hill towards Spoon. All right, let's look around the field here, see if we can't find something else going on.
Craig Bray and Aiden Hasselbrock has been at it for a long time. They've been within a second for a really long time now. But it really looks like the McLaren has been quite hard to overtake, but I got to say that Craig looks to be in a pretty decent spot, but yeah.
Ooh, swings way on the inside there. And something else I want to draw your attention to, Fred, take a look at the track conditions.
Yep.
We have gone from wet to damp. Track is drying up right now.
Yeah, the rain isn't increasing, so yeah. And what you saw there from Craig is not swerving. He is cooling down the tires, and it's because of the damp track. The tires are going to be overpressured now. Since it was wet when we started, you have to put more pressure into the tires. But since a dry line has appeared, it's just going to be harder to drive now. I'm expecting them to be between 1 and 2 psi too high, with very hot tires as well. So expect to see a lot of trying to cool down the tires from at least the front runners. I'm not sure about the people who are running in the rears or in the back, because a bit slower lap times, you don't have a ton of load into the tires.
That is true. Now, it has been my experience in the past that once the track has gotten to damp, and if it is looking like it is going to continue to trend in that direction, that it is generally faster to switch to slicks and just run really high PSI in them to try and keep them up at pressure. What would be your, if you were driving in this race right now, and let's assume that you're up in the top 10 because that's where you would be, what would you be thinking right now with the pit window approaching?
Well, since the weather forecast, from what I can see, isn't saying that the rain is gonna dissipate, it's gonna stay the same. I'd still stick on the dry tires, because not the
wet tires.
The wet, yeah, exactly. Mainly because 2 reasons. First of all, if you're using the you actually want to run on the wet tires for as long as you possibly can, even though the track goes over to greasy and maybe even green. You'd want to run the wet tires for as long as you can, because as soon as you swap over to the dry tires and start driving on those, the degradation on those tires, because they're not up to temp and you're sliding all over the place, is going to be insanely high, and therefore you're going to have no grip after about 5 to 10 laps. So therefore you want to wear those wet tires out for as long as you absolutely possibly can before you go on to the dries. But that's what I do, and that's what most other people do. But I know that some people like to go over to the dries early and just basically get a jump on people whenever they go into the pits, but it usually doesn't work, from my experience.
Yeah, see, I'm in that tier of driver where, you know, sometimes the cheeky strats do pay off for me just because the level of proficiency just isn't what it's at here. For example, in the top 10 of the GT3 league, sometimes you can get away with those silly little strategies to gain an extra position or two. But yeah, what you're saying is absolutely spot on, and at that level of driving, I'm certainly not going to argue with you.
Usually how it looks is that people who are at the top of the splits are usually the ones that swap the tires the last. So what we do is that we look at the drivers who have swapped
Ooh, a little bit of,
and see what
sorry, I'm going to cut you off just for a second there. A little bit of action back at the second Dagner. We saw Pop Dog run way wide. Timmy Wilkins gets a rough exit because of it, and we actually saw 3 positions change, and it looks like Kublai Salon right there in that Mercedes on the outside of the hairpin missed the braking zone, overshot it, got passed by a couple of cars on the inside because of it, and now he's got Timmy Wilkins right up his chuff, and they're going to be drag racing up into Spoon. A lot just happened there in a short amount of time.
I'm gonna have a look and see what actually happened, because it didn't really look like he overshot it. It more looked like he got tapped, honestly.
He may have. I did just miss whatever happened in the hairpin, but we actually just saw him run a little bit wide there at Spoon as well.
I'm gonna have a look and see what happened. No, he just outbroke himself by a lot.
Ah.
And I mean a lot.
That can't happen.
He's kept it out of the wall, so good job. But he spun. Oh yeah, he spun round in the gravel afterwards. That's why it fell back so far.
Got it. That makes more sense. Oh, outbrakes himself going into the chicane as well. Really struggling to keep that Mercedes under control. But uses the runoff wisely and is able to get back out on the track without causing further incidents.
Usually, if I can go back to what I was talking about earlier.
Yeah. Yep.
Was that front running cars usually look at people who are a bit further back in the basically further back in the race, that swapped over to the dry tires, and when the lap times are starting to go in favor of the dry tires, that's when the wet tire runners are pitting.
Makes sense. Oh, and we got massive contact between Ice Tin and Art Dyson, it looks like. Let me see if I'm right. Yeah, that is exactly what happened. Pop Dog had a rough entry into one of the S's, runs into the grass and lost control of the car, forced him out into Dyson. That was a big hit we just saw on camera there. Looks like Rico Dyson able to get away from it. Pop Dog's still trying to get back out on the track. And I gotta wonder what the front of that McLaren is feeling like after a hit like that. He has almost certainly got front aero damage there. It looks like the wet track conditions are starting to take their toll on these drivers already.
Yeah, different braking zones, not the same entry speeds. You have to be very careful. Otherwise, maybe it doesn't bite you too hard, but you can definitely run into people and pick up a lot of penalty points. Something is telling me that the report channel is going to be very interesting to watch after this. So join the ARC community server on Discord and have a look at the mayhem that is going to go down there after this.
All right, let's take a look here. I'm trying to read a car number. Okay, I think I got it. Because we got a pretty long train of cars here. Yep, it's behind Timmy Wilkins here. And we almost have a 10-car train here battling it out for 15th here. There's not more than a second between any of those cars.
And Javier Marquez is usually a front runner in the AM classes, down in 16th, but so is LeBron. He's also usually a front runner in the AM class, and he's down in 17th. So perhaps not doing a lot of wet running from the AM drivers. The only AM driver in the top 10 right now is Hasselbach, if I remember correctly.
Where'd Sam go?
Sam
he's in 6th. Yeah, he's an AM driver. Or no, he left. Uh-oh.
He's not here anymore. What happened?
Not sure what happened.
Disconnect. I'm gonna see if I can find some information on that.
And I'll keep watching the race here. Right now we got Javier Marquez and M. LeBron getting very close to one another, coming through the S's here. I don't know if they just watched that collision between Pop Dog and the other newcomer there. His name escapes me at the moment. But, yeah, running close to each other. Ooh, and out on the grass coming around up into the first Dagner. This driver's taking a lot of chances with the conditions of the road being what it is. They're sliding around a little bit and driving as close to each other as they are. They are inches from disaster here. And it makes for entertaining watching from us, but I don't want to see any more races ruined there. Looks like Timmy Wilkins outbrakes himself going up the hill into the hairpin. Almost gets overtaken by Javier Marquez, who does have a look at the outside there. Timmy Wilkins does an excellent job of putting his car right in the way, does not give up the position. Excellently defended there after a mistake.
Now LeBron comes
Yep.
on Marquez. He backed out. Jesus, it's so close for the Battle of 15th right now.
Yeah, and Timmy Wilkins overcooks it a little bit into Spoon there. It has to take a very
and
compromised line on the
AstroTurf.
outside. That's going to be 2 cars getting around him. We'll see if he's able to hang on to it and not let that NSX around as well. Coming up into 130R, he is going to have to get confident here and
So
really
let's see
be
who
brave
backs
to
out
hang
first.
on to it.
I think that the Lexus is gonna have track position. Yeah, he
Yep.
does.
Man, those
Okay, so Marquez and LeBron gets past Wilkins then.
yeah, which what looks like just kind of a rough lap for Wilkins there. His pace certainly is good enough to hang on to that, but yeah, that is going to be a couple of passes there. Looks like we see that Lexus dive into the pits there. So that's going to be M. LeBron in the pits.
Yep.
And Javier Marquez is now leading out the train. What's up?
Oh, so LeBron went into the pits early. That's very interesting. But at the same time, if he felt like he was getting held up, perhaps that is the smartest thing to do at this point.
That is, yeah. Let's see.
We want to mention that Melis is getting very close to Bray up in front.
Yep, so we got the camera on him now. Ferrari is an interesting beast to drive in the wet. I have actually had some of my best career finishes in that car, in the 2020 Evo, in the wet, at Hungaroring no less.
Okay. Probably together with Brands Hatch, the Ferrari's strongest track.
Yeah.
It's bunched up in the EUD category, which the Ferrari is just super dominant in. Also worth to mention is that the Ferrari has a very sophisticated traction control system, so it works really well in all conditions, honestly.
Yep.
If I were to say that the best overall car in the game for tire wear and fuel consumption and basically overall the best car in the game is probably the Ferrari. Yeah.
Real quick update, that was Kublai Salon there picking up the 30-second stop-and-go penalty for speeding in the pits. So that is one penalty handed out already.
It's very rough.
Sorry to cut you off there, Fred.
No worries. What happened to... Oh yeah, LeBron went into the pits, of course.
Yep.
My bad.
Yep, and we've got Kriegs in the pits right now as well.
Barrett has spun or been spun round. I'm gonna see what happened in the final chicane. Lost the position from it.
Yep, we just missed it on stream, but he's got the car going back around the right way. Now tracking down, it looks like...
Look, I'm fairly certain that he spun on by himself.
Okay.
Gonna see what happens here. He's on the brakes. Yeah, he overshot it. Went onto the AstroTurf. Got onto throttle too early, and just spins it round. Yeah, it's just... Yeah, that's unlucky, honestly. That puts Eric Chang back up to 12th.
Indeed it does. Craig leaving the pits right now. Doesn't look like we have anybody else in pit lane right now. Actually, excuse me, Javier Marquez and Marcus Marks currently in the pits. And Marcus, I can read what your name is, but you're Marky Mark now. Uh-oh. Did my computer... Can you still hear me? That was weird. That was quite the stutter there I just experienced. Sorry about that, chat.
Yeah, you disappeared for like 3 seconds. So, yeah, but you're back now.
Yep. Currently watching Chris Kemple try and overtake on the outside of the hairpin there. Oh, and I think he's going to make it work.
Yep, he's gonna get a good run there. Tim being very, very nice to him and giving him a lot of space. But also now we can see Chris Hungarian going in really close to the Bentley here. Is it gonna go up the inside? No, he shouldn't. No, he didn't. Good.
Oh, and Tim Wilkins does a really good job of closing up that inside line that Chris was trying to take there. Forces him onto the back foot.
Why
and that's gonna...
is LeBron going back into the pits again?
Uh-oh. That's not what you want to hear.
Did he for... Oh no, I see why.
What happened?
He is on the dries.
Oh no. You're not supposed to listen to the commentator. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. Listen to Fred.
He is on the dry ones. That's exactly what happened. Yep. That's incredibly sad. And then we have
number 12
another speeding in the
picks up
pits.
Yeah, who is that? Number 12.
Marcus Marks.
Oh, not Marky Mark. What are you doing, man?
Niall Drake is also in the pits. Okay, if he just finished his pit stop, that's why it was green and said he was in the pits.
Who is that behind Eric Chang there?
That is our good friend Dyson.
That is, okay, that is Dyson. All right, because I noticed it wasn't for position. I just couldn't tell exactly what was going on there, but those two keeping it nice and tidy between the two of them.
Yeah, Dyson shouldn't be stuck behind Eric for too long, because Eric is gonna go... Oh, I think it's just gonna let him by.
I think he's letting him by.
Oh, maybe not.
No, I think he just got the rear end got a little bit loose there. Or he was trying to dry off his tire, cool down his tires.
No,
he's letting him pass here. Yep, there it goes. There it goes.
It's smart, so nothing happens there because it's not Eric's race at all. Because Rico might be faster, but he's back in 27th after a long pit stop, so it's smart to just let him by.
Yep.
Also, the lap is really long, so he is technically 2 minutes behind Eric at this point.
Got a yellow flag back at the hairpin that we can't see because the cameraman's not awake. Okay, well, whatever it was.
Oh, we have a spin. Tom Castellani going through the second Degna, I think it is on the apex. He is off the apex, and he is back on track.
Yep, we see that. Doesn't look like really anybody around him. So that's good news for him. Doesn't lose a ton of time trying to get back on, or, waiting in a queue, waiting to get back on the track here. But gets around the hairpin nicely, using all the track, and racing again. Let's see, I'm trying to find any close battles. Timmy Wilkins looks like he's got some company. Yeah, it's going to be Niall Drake behind him.
Yeah, he has had company the entire race, from what I've seen.
Ooh, and they're really fighting it out there. Looks like Niall's ready to get around him.
Tim should actually just let at least Niall by, and Craig as well, actually, because they're not really fighting for position.
Oh, no, they really were almost fighting for that apex, though.
Oh, yeah. They shouldn't... Yeah, okay, Tim is going into the pits. Yeah, he shouldn't really be fighting those two because he's a pit stop behind them.
All right, looks like Melon Pitch and... who is that right in front of him? Are battling it out? Somebody we were watching earlier in that
Alfonso.
Lexus. Yeah.
Alfonso,
yep, the BMW. So battling it out for 6th, which is, oh, well, we're in pit stop land right now. I was going to say he was in 9th a second ago, so I don't know what happened, but people are serving pit stops. That's what happened.
I think both Craig and Niall went into the pits. I don't know if any other of the top 10 drivers. I think those are the only two top 10 drivers are pitted yet, so
yep.
We need to count them into the equation. But yeah, running 8th is still a very good result for him if we're comparing to what he's been running earlier. So he's in a really good position this race.
Yeah.
Not sure how the BMW actually is in the wet because I haven't really driven that car, but perhaps it's stable. I'm feeling that it's a bit like a Bentley, honestly, but I don't know.
I don't have enough experience. And actually, the guy who would know the answer to that is actually Melon Pitch. He's taken the M6 out a couple of times. In fact, if I remember correctly, actually, I beat him once upon a time when I was in the GT3s at Hungaroring. I think that was one of the few times I ever placed ahead of him.
Okay. Cool.
I do miss those days, but I just don't have the time for it anymore.
but yet you're here casting.
I love well, I mean, if you were to ask me which I enjoy more, I enjoy casting a lot more than I enjoy driving. I love them both, but this is more fun for me.
Okay, interesting. Interesting.
All right, let's see. We got actually Andrew Warden getting ready to pass a back marker here. Let's take an eye.
Oh, Pop Dog is in the wall.
Uh-oh. Okay,
I'm
well, the pass
happened.
at Andrew Warden was uneventful, fortunately, but Pop Dog, yeah, and that Marlboro McLaren making his way back out. Oh, and then Ice Tin just going for his lunch there, but it looks like Pop Dog misses the braking zone of the S's, has to use the runoff.
Yeah. Pop Dog just blew turn 1 and got a snap and slid backwards into the wall. So his arrow is going to be very damaged. Did Kublai get another drive-through or another stop go 30?
If he did, I missed it. I don't think he served the original one yet.
Yeah, he's serving one right now.
Okay. Did he pick up another one?
I'm no clue because it feels like he's had it for more than 3 laps. I'm gonna have to ask him after the race. Sorry, yeah. Sam is.
No, I was gonna say out in the chat we've got Sam Carasala because he was there for that fateful race at Hungaroring. He asked, "What did the other BMW do to you?" And so the story there is that was with another league. I believe that was when we were driving with Delta. Delta Racing League, another great place to go look for some action. They've got a lot of real good drivers there, great community. But it was at Hungaroring in the wet, and I was actually in front of Anthony Jones, and not by mishap. I was actually faster than him that day because they were in the BMW, which is terrible in the wet. Coming down into turn 1, as you know, hard into the brakes. It was raining hard enough to where visibility was affected. And Anthony didn't miss his braking marker. He did brake at the right time, but he had a tire out in the grass, so he just didn't brake at all. Put his car right into the rear end of my Ferrari, ended the race for me right there. But that was long enough ago that now it's just something I like to hold over his head for fun. But bringing it back over to this race, let's see if we've got anybody racing for position right now. We've been watching Niall Drake for a little while, making that little Xbox controller work for him. Still makes me mad whenever I think about it, but he's doing an excellent job of keeping that Porsche under control. See Jeff Fleischman going into the pits right now. Yep, that's him into the pits.
The thing that is worth noticing here is also keeping check on how the tires on the cars look, because if they have that yellow striping on the side, that means that they're on the dries. But I haven't seen any yellow stripes on any of the cars.
No, not anybody that we've been watching on the stream, anyways.
Yep, I'm trying to go through the field, and I don't see anyone being on the dries, which is good. According to me, it's good.
Let's see, I'm looking for any battles for position going on right now. We got 6 more minutes of nobody knows where they're supposed to be because there's staggered pit stops right now. But it actually looks like Craig Bray and M. Byrne are on top of each other on the leaderboard. Let's see if they're on top of each other on the field. Doesn't look like they are, but Matty Byrne looks like just got overtaken by Melon Pitch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that is what we just saw. Somewhere in the S's, Melon Pitch getting around Matty Byrne there. Oh, and Melon Pitch overcooks it in the second. Dagner fortunately keeps it out of the wall there on the outside, but Matty Byrne going to take that position right back from Melon Pitch. And those two are going to keep battling it out. That is going to be one battle for position we need to keep an eye on. Let's see if there are any others going on here.
Easton and Eric Chang are quite close to each other now. Easton is caught back up to Eric.
Okay.
They're within a second going into the final chicane. Oh, okay. It looks like Eric Gottsacker bent it. Oh yeah, he very much bent it at the pit entry.
Oh no, that could be really bad.
Oh yeah.
I can't find him on the... Oh, no, come on. Matt, what are you doing, dude? Oh no. I can't find him on the leaderboard.
He lost a bunch of positions. He was sideways. I was on Eric's car watching him, and then I saw him being basically sideways on the pit wall So
yeah, we can
must
see
have
that
happened
that
on
thing
pit
is
entry.
beat up on both sides of the car. Probably going to be fixing that during this pit stop, but
Oh yeah.
back out on the track here.
So now the big question is: have people remembered to swap over to the wet tires in the
pit strategies?
pits? Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I think I see somebody on the dries actually.
Who?
It's one of the McLarens. Let's see here. Who is that? It's not Chris Ungurian. I think it's actually... No, it's not A. Hasselbrock. Who is that? The camera's shifting just in time to where I can't see. Here, let's try to do... Oh, and actually, Aiden Hasselbrock facing the wrong way around at the top of Dunlop gets back out on the track without any event there.
Yeah, that's gonna lose him a bunch of time.
It's
Who are we talking about?
It's the McLaren that's behind Chris Ungurian right now.
Chris Ungurian. Okay, I need to locate him
I think it's
first.
Jay Marquez. I think it's Marquez. No, it's
Okay,
not.
let's see if we can...
Nope. I'm grabbing each McLaren right now and just kind of gambling that it's the right one. Is it Castellani? Nope, they're on the outlaps. It's not them.
Yeah, I'm just gonna shuffle through the entire field and see if anyone's on the dry, so you can focus on what's going on the race.
All right, let me find anybody fighting for position right now. Big Bark in the chat says, yeah, I don't know how Niall drives the Porsche with a controller. To me, the car is completely undrivable with a cheap wheel and pedals. Yeah, you can... Welcome to the club of wondering how the man does it. Makes me mad every time I think about it.
What happened to you, Sam, if I may ask?
I'm sorry? Oh, yeah, he's... Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, Sam, you're getting asked by Fred, actually myself as well. We want to know what was happening, because the pace was all there, my dude. All right, Chris Ungurian diving into the pits to serve the mandatory pit he's still got to deal with.
Oh, okay, fair. Happens.
Ah, yeah, it's too bad.
I don't see any dry...
no, it's because I was wrong. It's a Ferrari. I think it was the Ferrari. I don't know. I saw the yellow tire border, and I assumed that's what it was. I believe I must have been mistaken.
Oh, it could be that he's running like a yellow rim
right
thingy.
It's not Alessio Melise. It's down Jay Robinson. That's who it is. Yeah, I think it's just the matching border there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my bad. But Justin Robinson, the Ferrari I was talking about, I was calling him a McLaren the whole time because my eyes don't work, as we have established pretty well here today already. Okay, that's Javier Marquez in the pits. I'm just looking right now. I'm just clicking through the leaderboard looking for anybody who's got someone close to him. We're getting to the end of the pit window. We got 1 minute left for anybody who hasn't served the mandatory pit to get in there. Right now, we got Daniel Wright and Alessio Melise in the pits right now. Ice Tin still has a pit stop. What was that?
Chris Ungurian got a 30-second stop go for speeding in the pits.
That is not great.
No. We have a few people that hasn't served their pit stops yet. Einstein must come in now, but he is going through the second chicane, so he should be fine here.
Let's see, put it in the pits. Yep, okay, Ice Tin's paying attention. He's still awake. I believe that's it. I think he's the last one. Everybody else is either...
He's the last one. Because
yep.
I think we have a battle that's gonna come up soon between Eric Chang and Javier Marquez.
Okay.
They're inching closer to each other, but
go ahead.
We'll see.
Yep, got the cameras over on them for a little bit.
Yep, it's 2 seconds between them, but the gap was way larger earlier, so Marquez is starting to catch back up to him, and Marquez did his personal best last lap, so he's starting to find some pains in that McLaren now.
All
also,
right.
Dyson just got past Fleischmann, I noticed.
Let's see here. Yeah, right now, just after pit stops and everything, it does look like the field is pretty spread out at this point. Not a lot of close racing going on right now, at least none for position. See, number 71 car has somebody right on top of him. Let's get over there. That's going to be Chevelio. getting chased down by Alan Zhu.
I want to mention also that the from last race on Snetterton, there wasn't really a lot of action going on there. There was some heroic sense going into the fast left-hander on the back straight, but other than that, there wasn't really a lot of action going on.
Got Ratha in the chat. Rain in Suzuka. How odd. Yeah, I know. It's
authentic Japanese weather, monsoon.
No kidding. Ooh, Alan Zhu getting a little impatient with the Mercedes out in front, giving him the blinkers coming up into the second chicane. We might see an overtake coming out of Alan here pretty quick here, right on the rear bumper of that McLaren coming around the final corner down in the straight. I think he might actually have the pass here by the time they get to turn 1.
I don't think so. The Merc is pretty
he's too far.
fast in the straight line.
Yeah. Jeez, look at that Merc just pull away. Ooh, the Porsche tries to take a little bit more speed into that corner, is not able to get enough in there to try and make the overtake. Now he's just going to file behind him coming through the S's. Not a lot he can do about it either.
Yep. That's the issue with the Porsche. When you're stuck behind people, you're gonna... Oh, that's interesting. Eiston got put out in between Marquez and Eric Chang. So now it's a three-way battle for that position.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Let's take a look here. Eric Chang comes around a load. Yeah, no, sure enough, there are the McLarens chasing him down.
And that I think that is the closest fight we have at this point between Marcus Eiston and Eric Chang.
Yeah. I'm just going to draw a little attention to Melon Pitch. I think he's about to put in his best lap of the race right now. Let's see if he does. No, not quite. Almost. Puts in a 2:08.3. I just saw the Delta looked incredible. But yeah, still a good lap with 17 minutes left in the race. Let's hop back over to that other battle we were watching between, who was it? Eric Chang, Ice Tin, and Javier Marquez. Our Marquez runs a little bit wide there at the exit of 130R. Coming down to the second chicane, they're going to keep it nice and tame there. Still too much space between each of these cars for them to try anything too clever. But this battle is going to rage on for another lap.
Oh yeah. Eric didn't have the best of chicanes, so he's going to have a compromised exit, but I don't think Eiston is going to be close enough to do anything here. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this battle ends up finishing.
Well, Eric had to get on the brakes there mid-corner. I think just took a little too much speed to be able to close out turn 1, so that did let Ice Tin close up a little bit before the S's. We'll see if it's enough. It doesn't look like it is just yet, but depending on Dunlap and the Dengers.
The issue here for the McLaren is very aero-dependent car, has issues following. Add wet conditions on top of it, it's going to struggle through the S's. Compared to the Bentley, at least. Yeah,
and we can see that already by the top of Dunlap, that Bentley might as well be gone.
Yeah, but it all comes down to how your exits are on the overtaking positions. For an example, I can see going through the second exit that Eric is way more cautious than what Eiston is. But at the same time, Eiston needs to find a way to get past Eric and not compromise any of their races. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this battle ends up being towards the end. Other than that, looks like there isn't really any real battle going on.
No, I think
from what I can see.
As I say, I think this is the closest thing we've got right now. Let's see. Yeah, this is going to be this is the tightest battle for position right now on the entire track. So we're going to hang out with these guys here. 2 McLarens and a Bentley coming up the hill into 130R, it looks like. Yep. And not much to say. I do see 2 cars practically right on top of one another in the S's. Let's see if I can get over there in time. That's going to be Michael LeBron and another Bentley. This is going to be Jay Ashley. I think that's one of our Onid guys.
Yep.
Yep, sure enough, Johnny Ashley from Onid Racing. In the number 9 Bentley. Getting tracked down by Alexis, coming up into the Dagners. Both front engine cars. Neither one, I don't think, does either one of them really have the advantage against the other one here.
Bentley is a bit too cumbersome for this track. I'm not sure how the Lexus is because I haven't driven it. From what I've noticed, the car has good rotation in the mid to slow speed corners, but has horrible understeer on the high speed. So I'm not sure. I think
also,
it mostly comes down to driving here on this track at this
also
point.
has an A-pillar that can take away half your field of view if you've got the wrong camera settings in that Lexus.
Oh yeah, that is very much true.
Which actually, I think I could even demonstrate that for the stream, just how much of an obstruction that is. It's kind of ridiculous. Let's, which one is it? Is it onboard 0? No. We'll find it. We'll find it. There we go. Yeah, look at the A-pillar of this car. Actually, great time to hop in as he looks up the inside of 130R. It has to back out just in time for that Bentley to get around. Almost a collision there between the two. But as you can see, that A-pillar, absolutely ridiculous. You can't see anything around that. Let's go ahead and hop back over to our TV cameras as soon as I can find my mouse.
Short command for it is F3, by the way.
Yeah, no, I know.
Okay.
I have the way I'm running this. I'm running it from the broadcaster app, so I'm actually not actively tabbed into the game. So if I hit F3, who knows what it's gonna do?
Oh, okay.
But it looks like the Lexus got around the Bentley on the straight. They're gonna continue side by side into the exit of turn 1. Lexus is gonna have to get pushed out wide out onto the slippery curbing there, but manages to keep the car under control. Now that Bentley looking up the inside, coming into the entry of the S's. Oh, and we almost had collision between the two of them. Bentley has to dab on the brakes before running into the back of that Lexus there. Manages to avoid an accident, but that is gonna be a successful pass for the Lexus of Mike LeBron there.
And now, oh, he got a bit squirmy there, Easton, but he's really close to Eric now.
All right, let's go ahead and hop back over to the
really close.
Yep, I see that. We're gonna hop into Helicam just so we can see just how close these two are gonna get coming through the S's, because that gap is gonna cinch up.
It really looked like Easton had a bad exit though, so yeah, probably struggled a bit for top speed on the straight. He looked a bit sideways going out of the final turn.
And as we saw last lap, S is not a great place to be chasing another car if you're in the McLaren. Number 69 picks up a stop and go 30 with 2 laps remaining. That must be an old penalty. What in the world?
I think that is, which car is that? Yeah, that's Hungarian. He's just been sitting in the pits.
Okay.
No, wait, what?
Yeah, I'm confused. He just went across. He's in the entry of the S's behind Andrew Warden.
Yeah, very confused. I do not know what's going on there. Maybe just Kuno's things.
Probably just Kuno's things. Like, almost certainly just Kuno's things. Let's catch up with chat here. Ratha says, I had to move my camera to the middle of the car when I was in the Lexus a few seasons ago. It's insane. Followed by Big Bark saying, it's been nearly 1 year since we did a 24-hour race in the Lexus. I remember that race. And I can still hear that engine sound in my dreams. Right there with you, brother. But it looks like Eric Chang keeping a safe distance to that McLaren behind. We'll see if the McLaren's able to catch up by the pit straight like we saw in the last lap here. We'll know here pretty soon, but it looks like Joshua Marquez right on the rear bumper of that other McLaren. It really does look like a battle between the McLarens, or rather than Eric and Ice Tin.
It's I don't know. Eric got a very compromised line there, so he's gonna have to defend the inside compared to the McLaren here.
Has the faster outs. Oh, is he gonna be able to sneak in there? Not without a little bit of contact between the two of them. He does kind of bump into the Bentley there, but does get around him on the exit of the second chicane.
Yeah, that's, I don't know, kind of fair, kind of not fair. Hard racing. I'm personally okay with it, if I'm honest.
That was good setup by the McLaren to have the inside line on the exit of that second chicane. Just got a little bit, stuck the elbows out just a little bit. I don't know without watching a replay.
Another thing that is worth to notice here is that Easton is in split 1, whilst Marquez and Chang is in split 2. So now we have the split 2 drivers closer to each other. So I think it's a more important battle coming up now.
Yep.
I think Easton is honestly gonna pull away here. Feels like that is the case, at least. It looks like that. Because as soon as the McLaren gets into clean air, it's going to be fast.
Let's see here. We're going to hop over to the number 25 car, Jess Fleischman, in the Apollo Racing Club Audi. He's got Rico Dyson chasing him down. That Aston Martin newcomer, at least to me. Been seeing a lot of him the Audi runs wide there in turn 1. Almost loses the back end. It gets a little bit slippy there, trying to grip up before the S's. But it looks like they're able to maintain it well enough to not let Rico get around him there. But now we see that Aston Martin very eager to get past that Audi, getting real close there. And we're just going to hang out with this helicopter cam because it is giving us a good look at the action here. We can see how close they're getting to each other under braking there, but gaps it out there. Aston Martin runs a little bit on the grass there. Ends up hanging on to control of that car coming up Dunlop. We're going to see them into the Dagners here, and they're going to stay in that order. Takes a lot of curb on the inside there from the Aston Martin Audis, keeping it nice and safe. Taking nice wide wet lines there. Cameraman got confused looking at what road he wanted to take or pay attention to, but we're coming up into the hairpin here. Aston Martin not really close enough to make anything happen. We'll see who gets the better exit here. Does look like it's going to go to the Audi.
I'm following the battle between Chang and Marquez, and it's not gonna be within striking distance right now.
Yeah, I'm watching them on the map as well, just in case they do get real close to one another. All right, both good corners out of Jeff Fleischman and Dyson there. Neither one of them really gets an advantage up the hill into 130R, but they are closing up on that Mercedes out in front. With 8 minutes left in the race, we might see some action yet. A battle for 18th potentially. Looking around the field still, I don't see any other close battles for position other than the two that we're following right now. Definitely some cars getting stacked on top of one another for faster traffic passing slower traffic, but nothing for position that I am seeing right now.
20th to 18th looks quite close.
Yeah, that's what we're watching right now on the stream. We've got Chevelio, one of those, I don't know. He's in the Mercedes, and then we've got Jeff Fleischman and our Dyson tracking him down. Like I was saying, they're closing up on that Mercedes. They've already gone from about a 1 second gap to basically no gap in the S's. We might see some overtakes here by the time we get to the Dagners and the hairpin.
Yep. Let's see how it looks there. When the Merc is going a bit wide.
Yep, and the Audi really wanted to get on the outside there, but might get the
Here
switch
comes the
around.
Aston then instead.
Ooh, that's going to be close.
But the Merc has track position. He should be fine here.
Yeah.
Jeff tries going on the outside.
And we saw runs way wide on the outside. We lost him on the cameras there.
Yeah, I think that's on Jeff Fleischman though, trying to go past on the outside, because that is very much Chevello's corner.
Yeah, that's not a corner you can pass on the outside of. That's because what's going to happen is exactly what did happen.
Yep. Eric Chang and Marquez are really close now.
Okay, let's go ahead and let's hop back over there. Yeah,
really
just a
close.
third of a second between the two of them. Something's going to happen here.
Oh, it looks fairly good.
We see that Bentley really trail braking to keep that car under control coming around that corner, but does so pretty well. Does not give up the position to Marquez there.
Yeah, this is a battle that's probably going to be really close all the way into the end of the race.
5.5 minutes left here at Suzuka. We've seen plenty happen, but we are in the final stretch of this race. I think we're watching we've been watching the only two battles for position here. Just a real quick rundown of the leaderboard, because I know we're hopping all over the place. Can't necessarily see the whole thing on stream, but we got Andrew Warden, Tommy Kogan, Daniel Wright as our right now our pole positions, followed by Alessio Meliz, Niall Drake, A. Hasselbrock, Craig Bray in 7th, M. Byrne in 8th, Alexandre Afonso in 9th, and Melon Pitch closing out the top 10. And we're watching a battle between Eric Chang and Javier Marquez in 12th and 13th. We can see that McLaren's getting really looking for any way to get around that Bentley. He's got to know he's got less than 5 minutes to do it. Got to make that move happen soon if he's going to make it happen at all.
Yeah, this is also the battle for second place in the AM class here.
Okay, yeah, that actually makes it even more important.
So, just to bring some context to this battle, and this is between, I think it's second and third place in the AM standings, where LeBron is the current leader, if I remember correctly. Oh, Marquez is really close.
Yep. Oh, and they're gonna. Ooh, don't do it. Oh no. Oh no.
That's really bad. That's really bad by Marquez.
He needs to give that position back to Eric.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. Well. Good. All right, I feel better. I feel better.
Yeah. That was a bad send. Very bad send.
That's it. You know, it's with 4 minutes left in the race, you're getting impatient. Things like that are going to happen, but you can't let things like that happen. Good on good sportsmanship out of Javier there, giving the position back. He's got 4 minutes to try and get another attempt at taking it. We'll see if that happens.
Chevelle still managing to keep ahead of Dyson in that Mercedes. It really looks like the Mercedes is very racy around here.
I think that, yeah, I mean, I think that might be the battle for 12th decided there. Unfortunately, with that mistake out of Javier, may have just cost him that position with that send.
I wouldn't say so. We have 2 laps left.
Well,
it's not over. It's there still.
I mean, yeah, it's never over until it's over, but he's got 2 laps to try and make up that. Well, it's not quite a 1 second gap. Anything could still happen.
Wonder if anyone's gotten the radar scare today.
Oh, I know. And what he's talking about, for those of you who don't know, is when you when you go through the underpass here at Suzuka, the radar will see the cars going over the bridge, and it can look like you're about to get absolutely demolished by the cars that are passing overhead. I know I've slammed on my brakes before seeing that. It's definitely made me panic. Although, to be fair, that was at the very end of a 24-hour race. My focus wasn't all there. But actually, we're watching Chevrolet and that Aston Martin. Aston Martin does get around him on a very interesting inside line on Dunlop, but makes it happen. Actually, very commanding pass there, because we can see he's already gone. Now, Jeff Fleischman trying to get around Chevrolet there for 19th place.
Yeah.
But Rico Dyson
Chevrolet did his personal best lap. Last lap, but he goes wide, Chevrolet.
Yep, and I think that's going to be Jeff Fleischman taking the position here. We'll see what it looks like when they get around here. No, that's going to be the Audi past the McLaren, or Mercedes, excuse me.
Sad, a mistake that made it happen. Oh, it's very close. Yep. It's very close. And the final lap starting now, so we're going to have to look at this battle between Marquez and Chang.
Yep, he's going to have one more lap to try and make that overtake happen. We just got the call that Andrew Warden has begun the final lap. And these two have just 1 lap to try and sort out who gets 12th place.
Yeah, and 2nd place in the AM standing.
Yeah, which is honestly the more important statistic here.
Yep. Oh, it's so close. Jesus Christ. That Marquez shouldn't try to do anything there. Eric up on the curb, not really what you want to do, but he seems to get a really good exit on the Dunlop corner, going out towards the Degnus. Marquez is going wide!
Oh,
he has blown it!
That is going to be a difficult mistake to recover from.
But now Cody Barrett is right up in the mix, but Marquez all of a sudden behind him.
We're going to leave it on the helicopter cam here and watch this out to the very end, because just like that, a battle for 12th is now a battle for 13th between Javier Marquez and Cody Barrett in the Porsche behind.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting into this race for the battle for... But it's still not over, because we have some high-speed corners coming up, and we never know. Perhaps, although it's highly unlikely since it's a Bentley, he might get squirmy. But if it just drives calm and collected, it should be fine. Also, Melon Pitch is really close to someone up in front of those guys.
Yeah, let's keep an eye on that, because they've got a little bit more driving to do, and I think that battle between Eric Chang and Javier Marquez is decided at this point.
Yep. I'm just gonna look. You can look at Alfonso and Pitch. I'm gonna just see how the battle finishes there.
Yep.
Yeah, Eric is definitely gonna have 12 here. Yep, and Marquez is going to 13th, and Coder
Oh,
should
Melon
have 14th.
Pitch and Afonso go too wide through the first Dagner, and just like we saw with Jeff Fleischman, that is going to push him way to the outside, but he recovers much better. And now the BMW and the Lexus are going to be drag racing up the hill into the hairpin. It does look like the BMW's out in front. Might get a lucky cut in from the Nissan there. Let's see who gets the better exit there.
He had too much entry speed, Melon, and therefore he's going to have a very compromised exit. So he has one more shot, and that is the final chicane. But he has to get a really good exit here on through Spoon. And he's very close. He has a good exit. It's going to be very close going into the final chicane.
Yeah, we're going to hop to the Helicam because this is going to be close enough to where we want that top-down view here.
Worth to top 3 has finished, so Warden, Kogan, Wright is the podium for today, which is pretty much what we usually have. Okay, let's see. Alfonso going.
Melon Pitch looking up the inside. Oh, is he going to try it? Oh no! Oh. Yeah, that was always going to happen with that line. That is unfortunate. Let's see. Oh no, he's got nobody behind him to worry about. Yep, just go right across the track and go finish up that lap. A good final effort there out of Melon Pitch, but outbreaks himself and puts himself into the side of that BMW. And now he's going to celebrate with his top 10 finish. Unable to get that 9th, but still a strong finish for him. And I think that is going to be the race, folks.
Yep, that is the race. Driver of the day, split 1 and split 2.
Ooh, that's going to be tough. I mean,
I'm giving the driver of the day for split 2 to Hasselbrock, because new driver, haven't seen him before, and finishing top 6 is a good result for him.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can't disagree with that at all. And actually probably had the pace to finish much better than he did. Because there were a couple of times I watched where spins put them off the track. So potentially some more pace there. Let's see, best lap was a 207.5 during the race, which puts them squarely between Daniel Wright and Alessio Melise as far as pace goes. So we will be keeping an eye on that driver going forward, potentially some much better finishes. But yeah, I got to be honest, I don't think I can disagree with you on the driver of the day. An outstanding performance out of the driver, and certainly going to be looking for some good finishes here in the near future. But that is gonna do it for us this week. Go ahead and put us back over on the starting soon, even though we're closing soon, but I don't have another slide, so that's what we're gonna take a look at. For everybody who's in the chat, thank you so much for hanging out with us. This was it was a fun race to watch at Suzuka. The wet weather conditions definitely given us some entertaining stuff to watch. Do I have that muted? Yes, I do. Okay, good. I'm not talking over the pre-roll. But yeah. That is gonna do it for us. To everybody who watched from start to finish, thanks for hanging out with us. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit follow, click the little bell so you can know whenever we're racing. I think at this point we almost have racing every day of the week across several different games. We've got some F1 2020. We've got Assetto Corsa F1. We've got GT3s and GT4 races. Guys, it really does all happen here. But that is gonna do it for us tonight. Tune in next week, same time. I forget what track we're going to be at actually next week.
No,
but
it's no. It's break week.
Oh, that's right. It's break week. Yeah, because we've got the 4 hours of Paul Ricard next week, actually. Yeah. So GT3, exactly. It's going to be all Porsche. So we've got the Cup car, the GT3, and the GT4. So join us next week to get your eyes on that. Will certainly be exciting to see all of the Porsches trying to tackle Paul Ricard together. But I'm going to go ahead and end this stream. Thanks you again, once again, from everybody at Apollo Racing Club for joining us this week. And we hope to see you next week for the 4